The snow's so deep, I'm sinking up to my knees. If I want to follow those tracks, I'm gonna need some snowshoes. Ski tracks, probably Yanni's. I bet if I follow them, I'll wind up back at the lodge. If I don't get warm soon, I may not make it. Ah, warm again.
What you need?
Would you happen to know the combination to the lock on the display case that has the snowshoes in it?
Only person who'd know that is Chantal. Just cross your fingers that she wrote it down. Gal's got a memory like a butterfly net. Of course, there's no need for you to go repeating that.
That's all the questions I had.
Keep me posted.
How can I help you?
I really need to get somewhere in the backcountry and was thinking you could maybe give me a cross-country ski lesson or two?
Out of the question. I don't have the time, the equipment, or, frankly, the desire. I am sorry.
That's all for now.
We'll talk again, I'm sure.
Hi, it's Nancy. Listen, I think I'm onto something, but I desperately need snowshoes. Could you give me the combination to the lock on the display case so I could use the ones in there?
I certainly can, but I'm not going to until you do something for me.
Sure.
I'm going to fax you a survey that Tino came up with. He says you're to fill most of it out by observing the people staying at the lodge, rather than just asking them the questions outright. He says that would put them on their guard. When it's all filled out, fax it to Tino. The results will help him come up with a profile that will help you to determine which of our guests is responsible for the accidents.
Sounds good.
Excellent. I'm faxing it to you even as we speak. In fact, it's done. So why don't you go get it right now? I'll wait.
Great. I just hope the questions aren't too dumb. Got it.
Good. Now remember, when you're done filling it out, fax it directly to Tino. And he wants you to call him before you do so he can turn his machine on.
That's it for now.
Answers, Nancy. I need answers.
Some things are missing. Maybe Lou went out and took them with him.
What do you want?
You messed with my rifle, didn't you?
This I gotta hear.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You used a bullet to push down the sight pin so I'd miss that wolf. What are you, some kind of bleeding heart, tree-hugging eco-terrorist?
How dare you use that tone of voice with me? I'm leaving this place right now.
Good. You just got yourself an escort off the premises.
Call 1555 Mystico and prepare to be amazed.
Who dares disturb the concentration of Mystico the Magnificent?
I'm sorry. This is Nancy Drew.
Nancy Drew, I see your future clear as tape. I see a white wolf and a dark figure named Bruno.
Bruno?
But beware, Nancy Drew, the wolf will only lead to danger and intrigue.
Cool. I mean, yes, Mystico.
The Magnificent.
Huh?
You're supposed to say Mystico the Magnificent.
Oh, right. Yes, Mystico the Magnificent.
So, Nancy Drew, what secrets from the beyond do you seek?
Something very special.
A wise choice. Return to the icy depths, and there you will discover the jewel of the deep blue sea. Mystico has spoken.
By order of the Snow Princess, you shall not pass! You win! Bombs away!
That's for me. Oh man, talk about your freaky dreams. My subconscious needs to get a life.
Nancy, hi! What the heck happened out there?
What do you mean?
What do you mean, what do I mean? I walked out to Icicle Lake to see how you were doing in the fishing shack, only there wasn't any fishing shack. There wasn't even a lake. The ice was all busted up like somebody dropped a bomb on it.
All I know is, after I caught that 2-foot northern pike, I walked outside and someone knocked me unconscious with an ice ball. The next thing I knew, there was an explosion and I was on an ice floe in the middle of the lake with no coat and no fish.
Somebody decked you with an ice ball and blew up the lake? Holy moly!
Probably you. Couldn't stand the thought of losing to a girl.
Har har. The good news is you're okay. The bad news? No more ice fishing.
I know this is going to sound like a strange question, but what planet do you most identify with?
I guess it would be Mars. You know, that whole god of war thing?
I should have known. I'll see you two later, okay?
See you later.
What's up?
So you go to school in California?
Yep. University of California at Brea.
What kind of degree are you working on?
Master of Fine Arts.
What are you going to do with a Master of Fine Arts degree?
What is this, like the Spanish Inquisition?
Hey, give her a break. She's just trying to make pleasant conversation.
Oh, right. What am I gonna do with an MFA degree? I don't know. See, I create works of art by manipulating naturally occurring geophysical substances like dirt. Sometimes I just use my hands, but most of the time heavy machinery is involved.
Oh, brother.
Nobody understands my art, but that's cool. To be great is to be misunderstood. FYI, Ralph Waldo Emerson said that.
Is this your first time at the lodge?
Yep. My car broke down on my way to Lake Louise last summer. Pulled in here to wait for the tow truck and figured it'd be a cool place to visit during the winter, so here I am.
So, you like to snowshoe?
I like doing stuff outside. Snowshoeing's about all I can afford.
Is it a hard sport to learn?
You don't learn how to snowshoe. If you need to get through snow that's too deep to walk through, you slap on some snowshoes and you just do it.
I was just wondering, what planet do you most identify with?
Planet X.
I'm sorry, I meant in our solar system.
Planet X?
But there is no Planet X.
There will be.
So, you identify with Planet X.
Planet X. That's my answer, and I'm sticking to it.
What do you think about all the weird things that have been happening around here?
I think they're kind of cool. Accidents make life colorful, you know?
You wouldn't be saying that if you were the one who'd slipped on those ice-covered stairs or eaten that bad potato salad or had those 4 flat tires.
Hey, I had that broken window.
Broken window?
I went snowshoeing on like the 3rd day I was here, and when I got back, the window in my room was broken. Glass was all over the place.
Was anything missing from your room?
Nah, it wasn't a burglary. It was like the window just decided to break. I mean, there was no rock on the floor, no bullet, no nothing.
It was the wolf. Tried to jump up into your room, but didn't quite make it.
That's bogus, dude. My room's on the 2nd floor, and besides, wolves don't do stuff like that.
Hey, that wolf does a lot of stuff wolves aren't supposed to do. That's why it needs to be hunted down.
It's just doing its thing, man. Get off its case. Anyway, my window broke and nobody knows why. Pretty awesome, huh?
Do you ever see anyone else when you're out there snowshoeing?
I see that Yanni guy sometimes. I'll be plodding along and he'll go zooming by. Those skis of his are like rockets, man. He's all like zippy zoom.
Do you ever see the wolf?
Never. Sometimes I hear it howl, though. Bad news, man. It doesn't take a very big sound to trigger an avalanche. And when you're out there by yourself, nothing will ruin your day faster than a couple of tons of snow roaring your way at 100 miles an hour.
Tell me about it. Nice talking to you.
Rock and roll.
Miss Camillo, hi, it's Nancy Drew from Icicle Creek Lodge.
Yes, of course. Is the wolf all right?
Well, Ollie hasn't succeeded in shooting or trapping it yet, if that's what you mean.
If only I was there to protect it. Our organization is trying desperately to arrange to have the wolf captured and transported to a sanctuary. But so far, all the ones we've contacted are full. And unless and until we find a place for it, our hands are tied. Tell me more about the contact you've had with the wolf.
After I was buried by an avalanche, it dug a hole in the snow so I could escape.
It may have sensed you were in trouble, or its behavior may have been totally random. But either way, the fact that the wolf didn't simply run away from you is very bad news.
It is?
Wolves and humans simply do not mix. While wolves may appear to be similar to dogs, behaviors that have been bred out of dogs after thousands of years of domestication are still instinctive to wolves. Training a wolf to behave like a dog may mask those instincts, but it cannot eradicate them. For that reason, no matter how sociable the wolf may appear, instinct can at any moment rear its ugly head with devastating results for any humans involved and for the wolf. Especially for the wolf, who will have simply been doing what comes naturally.
So the fact that this wolf doesn't seem to be that afraid of people could lead people to think they don't have to be afraid of it.
Precisely. It could make them forget that all wolves are, first and foremost, wild. And while we're on the subject, do not ever, ever give in to the temptation to feed the wolf. For one thing, a wolf's jaws are twice as powerful as a German shepherd's, and should your hand happen to get in its way when it tries to feed?
I get the picture.
For another thing, making the wolf dependent upon you for food would seal its doom. It sounds strange, Nancy, but the very best thing you can do for that wolf is nothing.
Are you the one who wrecked all the gear that was in the fishing shack?
Yes, that was me. I was afraid that Bill Kessler fellow would encounter the wolf on one of his trips out to the shack, and that it would end badly for the wolf. So I did a number on his equipment. I've done worse while working on behalf of Run and Grow Free. Believe me.
This is going to sound like a really weird question, but from what side of the bed do you usually get up?
Why in the world do you want to know that?
Oh, please don't try to make me explain.
Well, it's a harmless question, I suppose. Let's see. I get up on my left side.
If I were to ask you which planet you most identify with, which one would you say?
Earth. No, wait. Make that Venus. No, Earth. No, actually Venus. No, Earth. No offense, dear, but that's a very silly question.
Tell me about it. So, are you kind of an expert on wolves?
Oh, good heavens, no. Although I probably know more about them than most people do, which unfortunately isn't saying much.
Things like what?
Well, I know that a wolf that lives by itself, like the one up there at the lodge, a lone wolf, if you will, a wolf like that is called a disperser. And I know that 95% of the wolf's natural habitat down here in the lower 48 states has disappeared. And I know some people, a lot of people, couldn't care less. But it seems to me that wolves have just as much right to go about their business in this country as we humans do. After all, they were here first.
When you were here at the lodge, how come you had a magazine that featured Yanni Volkstaya in your room?
You're very observant. I read the article thinking he might make a good spokesperson for Run and Grow Free. But then I actually talked to him. At which point I realized that not only is he a raving egomaniac, but he's appallingly superstitious when it comes to wolves. I put an abrupt end to that conversation. I was afraid he might try to tell me that wolves had eaten his grandmother or something.
You know, actually, never mind. Why can't the group you belong to just capture the wolf, take it out to the middle of nowhere, and let it go?
Because unfortunately, there's really no such place as nowhere anymore. We humans are, or can be, everywhere. Plus, wolves can travel great distances. Contact with humans would be inevitable. And since this wolf has obviously lost its fear of humans, it would be an easy target for anyone prone to shoot first and ask questions later. No, a sanctuary is the only place where it would be truly safe.
What's a sanctuary?
It's a facility where wolves can live out their lives in as natural a setting as possible in the company of other wolves.
You mean like a zoo?
No, sanctuaries are usually not open to the general public. And while educating visitors about wolves is certainly one of their goals, their primary concern is preserving the animals they take in. Unfortunately, the more humans encroach on wolves' natural habitat, the more crowded the sanctuaries become.
Aren't there any government agencies that can take care of the wolf?
For the most part, and especially up there, wolves are considered to be pests. If a government agency got involved, it would take care of the wolf all right, permanently.
Why didn't you just come out and tell the people at Icicle Creek Lodge that you were there to protect the wolf?
Because I assumed, and quite correctly as it turns out, that very few people there would be sympathetic to my cause. Had I not been undercover, they may have tried to foil my efforts. Instead, I was able to foil theirs. For a while, at least.
Did you ever hear any explosions while you were staying at Icicle Creek Lodge?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I heard several.
Do you have any idea what caused them?
My first thought was that Ollie had completely lost it and was going after the wolf with explosives. But when I realized that even he wasn't that stupid, I assumed it was someone clearing an avalanche or a downed tree or something. While we're on the subject of explosions, did anyone ever figure out what made the bunkhouse blow up like that?
The sheriff says it was plastic explosives.
Wow, that's serious. No offense, but it sounds to me like instead of hiring a new maid, the owner of the lodge should have hired herself a detective.
Yeah. It gets so cold here at night. Will the wolf be okay?
Not only are wolves built to withstand cold temperatures, but they know instinctively what to do to survive in extreme conditions. If they didn't, they would have disappeared from the earth eons ago.
That's it for now.
Thanks for calling. Oh, and from now on, call me Lupe. I think you've earned that right.
How can I help you?
Ever see Lou Talbot when you're out there training?
The college student? Just yesterday I had to slow down to avoid colliding with him. It ruined my whole session.
Would you mind telling me what planet you most identify with?
Pluto.
Actually, Pluto's not a planet anymore.
That is exactly the point. Pluto stirs up passion and controversy, yet it continues undaunted on its course, as do I. Pluto and I, we are as brothers.
That's all for now.
Come back anytime.